Today, our Virginia Tech Hokies have a huge opportunity at our hands. With a record of 4-4, we host a ranked ACC opponent, the 6-1, number 16 ranked Louisville Cardinals, who are certainly in the mix for a college football playoff spot, and we are going to look to spoil the fun. It's obviously been an up and down season for us. We're coming off probably our worst loss of the year in the last episode, dropping a match at home against North Carolina. The Tar Heels are in a very similar spot as Louisville. They are also, I believe, now 6-1. They're ranked a little bit lower than Louisville, but sort of the same idea that they're in that second class of the ACC, behind the top dogs like SMU and Miami. The Hurricanes did just lose this past week, but North Carolina is clearly a strong team. They beat us 27-10. It was a winnable game, though, and a lot of the big reasons why we lost were self-inflicted. We shot ourselves in the foot multiple times. We were up by 7 late in the first half, 10-3, but Cam Kingsbury fumbles the ball, and then we allow a touchdown with 5 seconds left to tie the game, and that killed our momentum. We never recovered. We were outscored 17-0 in the second half. Jadale Mathis was super efficient. Their top receiver, Nick Winton, didn't get the ball. I don't even know if he got a target. He was busy vacationing on Elihu Island. But Austin Thigpen and Trevor Yancey both had really big games. They both had huge touchdowns throughout the duration of the evening. Cam Kingsbury, meanwhile, played his worst game as a Hokie. 24 for 43, sacked 4 times, 2 interceptions, brutal fumble before the end of the first half. And we took him out at the end of the game. We benched him, partly because he took a lot of hits, but the real reason is because of his performance. He wasn't good, and Ace Morgan had to replace him. Our stars, Chris Mickens and Nazir Ismail, did their thing per usual, although Ismail had his first game of the year without a touchdown. The defense wasn't horrible. They weren't good. I think more of the problem in this game came from the offensive side of the ball, however, and we're obviously going to have to be a lot better today against a Louisville team who, again, I think is very similar to North Carolina. They are ranked 16, whereas UNC isn't. I don't really know why the Tar Heels aren't ranked. We're far enough into the year to know that, well, they're the real deal. After Louisville, we have a bye week. We've got Duke, number 1 SMU, who seems to be the best team in the country, and then the Commonwealth Clash, our final home game, Senior Day against Virginia. So now that we're in Week 10, the college football playoff bracket has arrived. This is our first look at the committee's current bracket with SMU, Georgia, Michigan, and Illinois getting the byes and some fun games in the first round. I'm especially intrigued of the Michigan, Texas Tech, Memphis group. Texas Tech would be the clear favorite there, but Memphis is one of the top quarterbacks in the country, and Michigan, with their QB situation, they are certainly a wild card. Parker Zasko and Tyree Wells sit atop the Heisman list. It's been these 5 guys for about 3 weeks. It doesn't really seem like anyone is going to move up on that list. It's more so the order of that group. And then the ACC, with Miami losing this past week to Clemson, SMU's the only undefeated team left. SMU and Miami at the 2 highest point differentials in the country. Alabama is the only other team with at least 200. They have 200 exactly. They've lost 2 games, though. Louisville has by far the 3rd best point differential in the conference, so if anybody were to potentially take, say, Miami's spot in the conference title, it does kind of feel like Louisville would be the favorite as of right now. The thing with the Cardinals is that they've had a reasonably easy schedule up to this point, and it gets a lot harder here towards the second half of the year. And the game against us this week could easily end up being a trap game for them, and they could be looking ahead to Miami and Clemson on the road, which is their next 2 games. As we look at their wins, they beat Tulsa on the road. Tulsa's solid. They got blown out by Cal, absolutely obliterated in that game. Quarterback Judah Hudson really struggled. But since then, they have some good wins. Boston College is a strong team. Virginia's a strong team. And their best win of the year last week against a really good NC State squad. All of those games were at home, though. They have 4 straight on the road with us, Miami, and Clemson over the next 3 weeks. We're no slouch, I would like to think. And we could easily, again, be a trap game for them. The winner of the Louisville-Miami game will have the upper hand in terms of making the ACC title. And then Clemson as well. They only have 1 in-conference loss. They just beat Miami. They have as good of a shot as anybody to play against SMU in the conference championship. This Louisville team beat us last year, and they were quite a bit worse a season ago. And a big reason why they've improved has been the development of redshirt sophomore quarterback Judah Hudson, who's in heavy consideration from NFL scouts to go as high as the first round of this year's draft. 6'4", 225, he's got all the traits. He's got a rocket arm, maybe the strongest in the country. He can really run, and he's very impressive out of structure, making throws away from the pocket under pressure. The negative plays have gone way down this year. Only 2 interceptions compared to 14 a year ago, 11 sacks versus 26 last year. The Achilles heel of his game is his accuracy. His completion percentage has improved this year, but his yards per attempt have gone down. He has gotten a lot better as a runner, and he's become one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the country. So with the combination of size, arm talent, improvising, and rushing ability, it's easy to see why he could go in the first round this year, although I think he would be best suited to return to school. Josiah Reddick, the former 5-star running back, now a sophomore, had a very disappointing freshman season, but has been one of the most improved players in college football. We did not get to see Reddick when we played against Louisville last year. He was hurt, but their backup ran for like 150 yards against us. Reddick this year averages over 100 yards per game. He's been a workhorse for them, and he's been really impressive, while also being one of the better pass-catching backs in the country. And they've got a pretty solid group at receiver. No major standouts, but Aiden Johnson, the true sophomore, has really improved. Tyree Adai, multi-year starter. Elton Remmers is no slouch as the number 3. And then their defense is rated a lot higher than their offense, which is already quite strong. Now, they'll be without their highest-rated defensive player, Devontae Matlock, but Cedric John, dynamic edge rusher, had a couple sacks against us last year. Donovan Shepard at corner, big-time addition from the transfer portal. They got him from North Carolina, whose secondary appears to be doing just fine, given what we saw from them last week. But it should be a fun one, as the Virginia Tech crowd here at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia, all on their feet, yelling to the tune of Enter Sandman. The Hokies rocking the cursive helmets, orange jerseys, orange bottoms, against a very talented 6-1 Louisville team. The issue with Virginia Tech throughout the year is that we've beaten all the teams that we should beat, but we haven't beaten anyone better than us. We lost to Texas Tech, blown out by Miami, lost to Clemson, and then a really bad loss last week against North Carolina. Well, this is a great opportunity to finally beat a team who maybe is expected to beat us, given that the SMU game in a couple weeks is certainly an uphill battle on the road against the projected number 1 pick, the projected Heisman winner, receiver. So this feels like a real shot for us to make some waves in college football, and a big opportunity recruiting-wise as well. We've got 4 very talented 4-star prospects on campus today, none of whom we have the lead for. So performing well in this game would go a long way in potentially landing some of these talented prospects. In terms of the guys who we have visiting this week, 4 guys who I really want, but 4 guys who we're going to need to put on a show for today if we want any chance at their commitment. Wide receiver Khalil Kaufman. It's a close race between us and Missouri. The Tigers have seemingly taken the edge, but with a really good visit this week, who knows? That could easily change. We've also got multiple talented defensive players coming to campus this week. Edge rusher Alfonso Hayden, similar story. Clemson has the edge. Notre Dame has entered the race. Linebacker Noah McAdam. It's neck and neck with us and USC. SMU also in the mix. And then safety Taylor Dukes. BYU has the lead. Who knows, maybe we can pass them with a win today. Starting on offense, Kingsbury keeps it on the option and is thrown down for an early loss of yards by Adonis Swope. It's a loss of 4 for Kingsbury. We would get the first down a couple of plays later, but still, I want to see more from him as a runner. Looking to throw it off play action. He's got Nazir Ismail wide open. Very close to breaking the single-season Virginia Tech records for receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. Here's Chris Mickens. Whoop! The juke move. Whoop! The spin move. And nobody's in front of him! What a run by Chris Mickens, who high steps into the end zone for a touchdown. The Hokies march down the field after not scoring in the second half against North Carolina with an incredible run by the standout senior back, Chris Mickens. He might be better in space than any running back in this year's draft class, even though he's really not the fastest. His footwork and his agility is unbelievable. There's nobody in college football whose footwork in the open field comes even close to that of Chris Mickens. A 7-0 lead early in this game for the Hokies. Second and short. It's Josiah Reddick who breaks a tackle. Reddick gets a block and he looks to return the favor. Smoke Lewis catches up, but not before a gain of 51 for the sophomore Josiah Reddick, who only had 64 yards in Louisville's big win last week against NC State. Desmond Keene, the other running back, loses about 4 on first down. Colby Cook and Quincy Akindele bring him down as we now look at a 3rd down and 11. Reddick back in the game. Hudson looks to throw it. He'll go short. It's Elton Remmers pushed quickly to the turf by Corbin Roll as the best world is hurt, and that's certainly not good. And so it'll be the Cardinal field goal unit led by Melvin Tolliver. The kicker will attempt a 38-yarder from the left hash, a little bit over halfway through the opening quarter, to put Louisville on the board with a solid opening drive aided by the 51-yard run, as that one will squeak through barely to the left. So Louisville is on the board at 7-3. Really promising start for Virginia Tech. Couple of nice plays through the air. The big touchdown run by Chris Mickens. Let's see if we can keep it going, though, coming off of the worst offensive performance of the entire series. Play action. Kingsbury lobs it up for Ismail. It's incomplete. He was wide open, and Nazir Ismail is a guy who can get open at every level of the field, but the pass was just underthrown there by Kingsbury. 3rd down and 2. Kingsbury looks to throw it. Under pressure, flag on the play, one-on-one for Ismail. He's got it! Breaks the tackle, and Ismail dives short of the end zone for God knows what reason. But it is not going to matter. This one is coming back. A holding call against the offense. It's Dante Diamont, the senior captain at right tackle, who was supposed to be our best offensive lineman. He's honestly been our worst this year. RPO is picked off on 3rd and 12. We just had a chance to make it 14-3. Now we turn the ball over and give it to Louisville basically in the red zone. The senior linebacker, Cole Berger, picks it off as Louisville gets it back. Hudson fumbles the very next play, and it's picked up by Virginia Tech. Omani Hicken with the strip sack. Quincy Akindelay's got it. Ball don't lie. The Hokies force a turnover on the very next play. So both quarterbacks trade turnovers. Kingsbury throws a pick. Hudson fumbles on the very next snap. Great job by the redshirt sophomore linebacker Hicken coming in on the blitz as Virginia Tech has it back 3rd and inches. Kingsbury hit as he throws. Way to take advantage of the fumble. And now both quarterbacks are starting to look kind of sloppy. 2nd and 5 for Louisville with the tight end in motion. 1.5 to go in the opening quarter. It is Josiah Reddick with a juke move. He gets Elihu Gold dancing out of his shoes. And Reddick gets it past the 40. RPO, Reddick again bounces off a blocker. Another 1st down before being lit up by Justice Watkins. 5 carries, 87 yards in the opening quarter for Josiah Reddick. And that will do it for the first. A 7-3 lead for Virginia Tech. We had a really good opening drive. We had basically a touchdown called back on the second drive and then an interception. Both teams are running the ball really well, though. Reddick, 5 carries, 87 yards. Mickens, 5 for 54. Both of these teams really got to lean in on the run game. The two quarterbacks have already turned it over. Now, granted, other than the turnovers, the two quarterbacks have looked pretty good, as it's a 3rd and 4. Judah Hudson looks to throw it. He's got Aiden Johnson, who breaks a tackle, and Johnson walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Louisville takes their first lead of the night. What a throw by Judah Hudson up the seam with 3 defenders kind of in the area. An impressive tight window pass perfectly into the hands of Aiden Johnson, who breaks away from the tackle there by Smoke Lewis. He runs by Mitch Myrie. He runs by Elihu Gold at the end, and it's 10-7. 2nd and 7 for Virginia Tech, trailing for the first time as Nazir Ismail breaks the tackle, tries to juke away from Donovan Shepard. He does a pretty horrible job, but he gets it near the 40. Ismail is the flawless receiver after the catch. He can make guys miss, but he also can really break tackles, almost kind of like Dorian Sahara. We tried to go for the end around. That did not work. Emeka Osuji, the corner, is in with the sack. We tried to get the ball to Nazir Ismail. 3rd and 6, Mickens gets a few. I wanted to give us a 4th and manageable or censor a potential long field goal. He gets 3, and we could kick it, but I think we're close enough to go for it. It's not Mickens in at running back, though. It's Ashwill Virgo. 6 and 7 in the backfield for Virginia Tech as it's an RPO. Short pass is caught for a 1st down by Xavier Baker. That'll move the chains for the Hokies. A gutsy play call by head coach Cornell Teamer Sr. 6 to go in the opening half. Another RPO. Nazir Ismail stays in bounds and gets the first. 5 catches, 82 yards. Also had like a 70-yard score called back. 3rd and 7. Kingsbury fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Louisville. Cedric John helping aid the pressure. He's hurt on the play. Kingsbury's turned it over twice today. That's 5 over the last 2 weeks. He really didn't turn the ball over much early in his tenure as the starter. Hudson is sacked on first down on the blitz. Nathan Grimes brings him down. Grimes continues to impress in his limited opportunity as a redshirt freshman. Of course, had the game-winning pick in overtime against Maryland on the road this year. 2nd and 15. Hudson sacked again. Emmanuel DeRougy, the transfer from Central Michigan. The pass rush is actually looking kind of good today. That's been our weakness this year, but we've got 3 sacks. 3rd and 25. Hudson under more pressure. Lobs it up for Tyree Adai, and it's broken up by Elihu Gold, who had an unbelievable game last week against Nick Winton. I think Gold plays at his best against NFL receivers. Hokies get it back with good field position. Kingsbury under a ton of pressure. Hoping he... What was he doing there? I tried to throw it away. I clicked the throw away button, and he just stood there. Ed Gore gets the sack instead. 3rd and 14, under more pressure. He's going to throw it up. Ismail's got it for a gain of about 8. Yeah, Nazir Ismail, that guy is pretty good. 4th and 6. We're going to bring the field goal team out for now, coming into the 2-minute warning. But we're actually going to change the play call. We were never kicking a field goal there. Instead, the offense will stay on the field, and we're going to go for it. 4th down and 6. It'd be a 54-yarder if we chose otherwise. No one's open. Kingsbury on the run with a flag. Lobs it up. Ismail's got it. He is shy of the first down. But I think this penalty is going to be on the offensive line. A holding against Virginia Tech. It's Dante Diamont again. Louisville will decline it because we didn't get the first down. And even if they had accepted it, we would have given them the ball back anyway. 3rd and 10 for Louisville. Hudson down the field. Broken away for Aiden Johnson. Good coverage there in the secondary. I think that was Smoke Lewis, who really struggled last week against UNC. He's been a little better today. Hudson started 6 of 6, has thrown 4 incompletions in a row. Here's Mickens on first down, outruns the DBs, past the 45, out of bounds to stop the clock near the 50. 79 yards here in the first half for Chris Mickens, having another outstanding game. 3rd down and 9. Kingsbury under pressure, tries to stay in the pocket. He's got Ismail. 8 for a $106 in the first half. This guy is unbelievable. A complete superstar out wide. Here's Ashwell Virgo with a couple of blocks. We're trying to fool Louisville a little bit. That time it works as he gets the first down. 3rd down and about 4 now for Virginia Tech. 2 timeouts. This clock is running under 20 seconds. Kingsbury, it's broken away for Daniel Caffrey. And this time we're not going to go for it. We're going to bring the field goal team out looking to tie the game. Casey Swinger, the true freshman, from 37 yards out from the right hash. It's up, and it is good. Squeaks through the uprights. I think Swinger's gotten a lot better as the year has gone along. And this game is tied at 10 going into the break, just like the North Carolina game. Hopefully the second half goes a little bit better. This offense just feels really flawed. We have to rely on our stars way too much. Now, those stars have been excellent again. Nazir Ismail, 8 catches, 106 yards. Chris Mickens, 7 carries, 79 yards. Outside of those two, the rest of the offense has about 30 yards combined. That's not enough. Cam Kingsbury has been shaky again. I think he's been pretty good as a passer. 13 of 18, 127 yards. He's been able to get the ball to Nazir Ismail, but he has an interception and a fumble in this game. Judah Hudson, meanwhile, 6 of 10, 61 yards and a touchdown. I feel like overall he's been really held in check. Minus the 39-yarder right here to Aiden Johnson. Louisville's passing game has 22 yards, and that doesn't account for the 3 sacks. So other than that play, they have negative yards on plays that Hudson has dropped back to throw it. The issues for us defensively have been with the run game. Josiah Reddick, 6 carries, 92 yards. He's been great. They've got to get him the ball more. Hudson on second down. Hit as he throws. He's picked off. The best in the world. He's got it. Nearly a 4th sack for Virginia Tech. Good job by Hudson to get rid of it. But the problem is he throws it into no man's land. Just his 3rd interception he's thrown all year. And we get the ball 14 seconds into the 3rd quarter in the red zone now. Ashwell Virgo up the middle. Just shy of the yard to gain on 3rd and 2. You know what we're doing here on 4th and 1. The offense is going to stay on the field. Esteban Cabrera with the first and plenty more. He's wrapped up inside the 10. Nice play there by Virginia Tech. Nearing the end zone, looking to take the lead back. 1st and goal at 6 and 7. Play action. Kingsbury Rolls to the right, under pressure. Corner of the end zone, it's caught. Nazir Ismail kicks the pylon, but he is in for a score, and the Hokies regain the lead. Another impressive play for Nazir Ismail, who didn't score for the first time all year a week ago, but he's on the board today. This time we do take advantage of the takeaway. Both quarterbacks have been picked off and have fumbled it today, although again with Hudson, I really don't think he's been that bad. I think the offensive line is selling him short. Still though, Hudson was 6 for 6 at the time of the touchdown to Aiden Johnson. Since then, he's 0 for 6, finally completing his first pass since the big play. On 3rd and 1, Louisville will keep the drive going. It's Elton Remmers with the first down, and that'll move the chains at least. I feel like our pass defense has played really well, and it's because our pass rush has finally showed up. They're having their best game of the year. 3rd and 9, Hudson does have a clean pocket now. Looking deep down the field, it's caught! It's Tyree Adai who walks into the end zone for a touchdown. There's the Judah Hudson that NFL scouts are in love with. Adai gets a step on Elihu Gold, a rare big play led up by the senior corner who's having an All-American-esque season. Hudson perfectly places it in the bucket, and Adai walks it in to tie the game at 17. Hokies get it back. Both offenses score to open up the third quarter. As Kingsbury looks to throw it, he's got Mickens wide open with a block from Caffrey. Mickens past the 50. I talked about it in the Browns prospect profile video. I want to get Mickens more involved through the air. We did that against North Carolina. I want to continue to do that today, not just in the backfield, but have him run some routes just like that play. Read option, Kingsbury slides for the first down. Good run by Cam Kingsbury. He's not some elite scrambler, but he can move when necessary. Under 4 to go in the third, play action. Kingsbury is thrown down to the ground. It's Ed Gore, his second of the game. Now we're looking at a 2nd down and 15. That'll certainly make things a little bit harder for the offense. Kingsbury looking, Ismail one-on-one, has a step, but it's underthrown. Virgo was wide open in the flats too. But now it's a 3rd down and 15, and we're just going to run the ball, try to center the kick. Louisville doesn't see it coming, and Mickens gets it all the way to the 7. 9 carries, 105 yards for Chris Mickens as the decision to run the ball completely catches them off guard. And then Mickens will walk into the end zone shortly thereafter as he puts the crown on his head, his 2nd touchdown of the night. Really good end to the drive for Chris Mickens, and Virginia Tech regains the lead. It's been all about offense in the third. 21 combined points so far after only 20 in the first half. Pitch for Reddick. He looks to throw it on first down, and he misses for Johnson. Smoke Lewis had a chance to make a play on that ball. Certainly an interesting play call by head coach Jeff Brom. He got a little bit too creative there. Now a 3rd and 10. Hudson looks to throw it. Hudson's pass is caught. Tyree Adai, who had the touchdown on the last drive, beats Gold again on the drag route as he gets the first down. Under a minute left in the third. Up the middle. Adai again. He's getting the rock here in the third. Very uncharacteristic for Elihu Gold. Under 30 seconds now in the quarter. Louisville's offense in a nice little rhythm. This is the best Hudson's looked all day. He's under pressure, though, on the blitz and is eventually sacked. Nathan Grimes, his 2nd of the night. We've done a great job blitzing. These linebackers are really getting home. That will wrap up the third quarter. Virginia Tech's offense looking good. Chris Mickens and Nazir Ismail each with touchdowns. 27-14 going into the fourth. Louisville's number 16 ranking in the college football playoff poll. Certainly in jeopardy. They're currently the 4th team out, trailing Alabama, Arizona State, and Penn State, but they've got a real chance to increase that ranking, playing against Miami and Clemson over the next couple of weeks, but they've got to win here first. 3rd and 13, lobs it up for Johnson. It's overthrown. Smoke Lewis in coverage. Lewis has played a really good game since allowing the touchdown earlier. Virginia Tech gets it back. Esteban Cabrera thrown down for a big loss to start the drive. Now looking at a 3rd down and 6. Louisville's got to get a stop here. We're going to run it with Mickens. He's got nowhere to go. So the Cardinals are able to make a play there defensively. They force the 3 and out, and they'll get it back with about 8 minutes to play here in the fourth, trailing by 7. It's a screen caught by the tight end with room to the right side, and he gets to around the 50. Good tackle by Colby Cook, but not before getting the first down. 2nd and 8, play action. Another sack by Virginia Tech. It's Royland Mathis, 5th of the game for the Hokie defense. Now looking at a 3rd and 16 for Louisville. Hudson under pressure. It's a screen for Keene, and he will not get enough for the first down. It's a gain of 9. Justice Watkins brings him down, and the Cardinals are going to have to punt it again. 3rd down and 8 for Virginia Tech. A little over 5 minutes to play in the 4th. We've got the lead. We've got the ball. We're in a good spot. Kingsbury goes short. Mickens does not get much. Another stop by Louisville. Their defense is starting to rise to the occasion after struggling early in the second half. Louisville gets another shot, only down by 7 with plenty of time. A little over 4 to play in the 4th. Hudson, short throw is caught. That'll go for a first down and plenty more as they continue to move the chains. It's Abram, the backup tight end, his first catch of the game. 2nd and 7. Desmond Keene in at running back to the left of Hudson, who looks to throw it. Hudson under pressure, sacked again. That's 6. Emmanuel DeRougie, his 2nd of the game. He's been quiet for us this year. A little disappointing as one of our big transfer gets. He's having his best game of the year, though. 3rd and 16. Hudson hit as he throws, incomplete. Nearly intercepted. And they're going to punt the ball. Probably is too long to go for it. They trust their run defense, which is bold because Chris Mickens is averaging like 10 yards a carry. Kingsbury sets up an audible on 2nd down. Free safety will go back deep to double Ismail, but it doesn't matter. Kingsbury looking deep. He's got it! This guy is not human! 65 yards to the crib for Nazir Ismail, and the Hokies make it a 2-score lead with 2:46 to go in the 4th. Nazir Ismail had 2 guys on him. The pass was a little bit underthrown. He's able to track the football, break the tackle, and take it all the way. This guy is an all-out superstar. He needs to be talked about in the conversation for the Heisman Trophy. And at this point, with how he's playing, 184 yards and 2 touchdowns, he's certainly putting himself in the conversation of being a top 10 pick. And certainly in the conversation with Surodiah Nobles and Parker Zasko for wide receiver 1 in this year's draft. Browns fans, I know we want him on our team, but I don't think he's making it to our pick. 31-17, 3rd and 3. Hudson looks to throw it. He wants a big play of his own, looking for a die, and it's broken away. Elihu Gold stays with him the entire time that go around. And they're going to go for it on 4th down and 3. It's not too early. They're down by 14 with almost 2 minutes left as they are in the eye. Hudson will look to throw it, steps up, looking, and he misfires. Johnson was wide open, but a miscommunication between quarterback and receiver. And Virginia Tech is a couple nice plays away from potentially ending the game. On 1st down with 2:15 to go, it's Mickens. I'm sure we'll see quite a bit of him this drive. He gets the first down. Louisville's got to call time. That might be a death blow for the Cardinals. It is not looking good for them. RPO does not work at all. Cabrera loses at least 4, maybe 5. Oh, he only lost 3. I was going to say, hey, maybe it was 6 or 7. I wanted to make the joke, but it didn't really land. 2nd and 13. Kingsbury up the middle. He's close. He didn't get it. Not the worst thing that he didn't get the first down, though, because if we get a first down here on 3rd down and 1, that's it. The game's over. Mickens, he's got it. He wants to get down. We don't need to score. Just get down. Let us get to the 2-minute timeout and kneel the clock out to end the game. Virginia Tech will knock off number 16, 6-1 Louisville. A huge upset that could really propel the program forward for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, in terms of recruiting, the short and long-term impacts. Adding a ranked win like this against a great Louisville team is a loud and clear statement to recruits that, hey, our program is on the rise. Look at the 4 guys who visited today. That's going to be a huge boost in terms of our chances of landing them. We've got some absolute freaking superstars on offense with Nazir Ismail 11 for $184 and a pair of touchdowns. Chris Mickens scored twice as well. I don't know what we're going to do next year when both of these guys are gone, because the 2 of them, they are the entire offense. Everything here is built around Nazir Ismail and Chris Mickens, and they are as good of a running back, wide receiver, or even just skill position tandem in the country. But after them, when they're gone into the NFL doing great things, I don't know what it's going to look like. But for now, let's just enjoy them for the last 3 or 4 games that we're going to have them. 418 yards of offense. The 2 of those guys had about 300. Louisville only at 256. I thought our defense played really well. We didn't allow points from the final 15 minutes onwards. Judah Hudson, I don't think he was bad, but he certainly didn't elevate his team. Cam Kingsbury had some mistakes, the interception and the fumble, but he was really good in the second half. 21 of 32, 251. He was accurate throughout the course of the game. He didn't really miss many throws, which is good. On the ground, Chris Mickens, what an absolute baller. I fail to see a world where he does not go in the top 100 of the draft. Sure, he's not that big, he's not that fast, but the guy just knows how to play running back. He averaged almost 9 yards a carry, and then Ismail 11 for $184 and a pair. I mean, what else needs to be said about him? Our second leading receiver was Mickens with 39. Nobody else had more than 12. As for the defense, I thought they played great. Pass rush, where was this all year? 2 sacks for DeRugi, 2 for Grimes, 1 for Mathis, 1 for Hicken. Got a couple turnovers as well with the strip sack and the interception. Judah Hudson finishes 16 of 29, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He was not great, especially under pressure. I was really disappointed, but he also just never really stood a chance. I don't think his offensive line let him have any room, and he finished the game with like negative 40-some rushing yards. He wasn't able to scramble at all, and he got sacked 6 times. They should have ran it more with Josiah Reddick, 11 for 104. Through the air, Adai made some nice plays. Johnson had the big touchdown. Hudson had some of those splash throws, but he just wasn't that consistent throughout the course of the game. He's arguably the best quarterback we've seen so far this year. Now, obviously, we have to play Tyree Wells in a few weeks, but Judah Hudson's as good as anyone. I mean, Colin Westwood's good. Graham Glukowski is as well. But Judah Hudson's projected to go higher than both of those guys in the NFL draft right now. So before we talk about the rest of Week 10 across the nation, let's go through some recruiting. Of course, as I mentioned, the visits for Kaufman obviously went really well, and then the 3 guys on defense. Hayden, the edge rusher, MacArthur at linebacker, and then Taylor Dukes, the safety. So hopefully this puts us in a position where we can maybe get either one of those guys. In terms of the close races, quarterback Matthew Shelley feels 50-50. We have the slight lead. He visits Georgia Tech this week, though, so I'm a little bit worried if that visit goes well, they could very easily pass us and he could commit. Kaufman, we'll see what happens. Matthew Jackson, we had the lead for a while. It's getting a little dicey. He visits Oklahoma next week. Braden Keys, I feel good about. Hugh Wolf is really close. And then otherwise, the guys down with 5 schools or more. The guys with 5 schools we're largely giving 50 points to. And then some of these guys we're going to start to look at, such as running back Jarrell Casey and wide receiver Marquise Tyree. In terms of some notable games across the country in Week 10, those top 2 games might be the 2 biggest of the year so far. USC and Michigan. The Wolverines have won in a very unsustainable style. A lot of close games with their backup redshirt freshman quarterback. You'd think USC should win, but Michigan hasn't lost yet. Can they keep it going? And then Oklahoma, Alabama feels like a huge game for the Crimson Tide. They're 3rd in college football in point differential, only behind SMU and Miami. They're killing teams, but they've also lost 2 games. They can't afford to lose another one, and they've got a really tough test with Wyatt Cruz and the Sooners headed to Tuscaloosa. Offensive guard Braden Keys from Flushing, New York has committed. That's a big get for us on the offensive line. I thought we did pretty well last year with the O-line, and we certainly need some of those guys to step in soon because the offensive line this year hasn't been all that great. In terms of the other recruitments, we're in a tight battle with defensive tackle Hugh Wolf. It's now down to just us in Maryland. We have the lead, hoping that'll be enough to get him. Rakeem Dirthan, offensive guard Terrence Griffin will be visiting this week during the bye. Jeremy Campbell's down to 3. We're in 3rd. Major uphill battle. But look at this. Alfonso Hayden and Noah McAdam. We are in first place 4. So we're able to pass the teams that were ahead of us because of the visit. Nazir Ismail wins the ACC Offensive Player of the Week. Very well deserved. As we start in Memphis, the Tigers 7-0. They seem like the clear frontrunner to be the Group of 5 representative in the playoff right now. And games like this are exactly why. Ariane Igwebuike only threw 1 incompletion, connecting with Coco McGinn, one of the fastest receivers in the country, for a touchdown. Memphis wins, and they win big, 56-17. Now, the Tigers have a tough schedule coming up. They've got Tulane this week. They've only lost 1 game this year. They play South Florida in a few weeks. But Ariane Igwebuike is playing out of his mind. 23 for 24, 247 and 4 scores. Hooks Turner, 16 for $168. Balanced attack through the air. Even the backup came in and got to play well. After the lead was so big, they didn't need Iggy to stay in the game. Next up, we've got Pitt and Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish looked a little sloppy early in the year, but over the last month, they're playing better than just about anybody, and that would continue as well. They've got a really good thing going with this running back duo. Amari Blue's the big name. He's got a chance to be a first-rounder. But Jaden Williams, do not let the backup be forgotten about. He's an NFL prospect as well. 45-7, big-time win for the Fighting Irish in a game where quarterback Max Logan was not all that impressive. He only completed around half of his throws, but they ran it down Pitt's throat. And I love the way Notre Dame is using these guys as a duo. Blue, 22 for 104. Williams, 18 for 85 and 3. I don't think Amari Blue should be getting all the touches. Keep his legs fresh for the playoff. You have a guy in Jaden Williams who's clearly shown that he can play, and I think Notre Dame has really figured that out. Jaquarian Spencer still out for Pitt. The backup, Terrence French, also from Flushing, New York, really struggled. He was picked off twice, was not overly accurate. All right, here's a big one, maybe the biggest of the year so far. It's a tipping point for 7-2 Alabama because they are as good as anybody in the country. They have a point differential of plus 200. They're blowing teams out, but they also have 2 losses. They've got to win some big games at some point. Let's start with this week against Oklahoma. Denny Love gets the better of his draft classmate Wyatt Cruz with a beautiful throw into the end zone for Amir Anthony. He takes over first place for the Heisman. Alabama was down big going into the fourth. They were down by 14. Denny Love struggled for most of the game, but when the lights were the brightest, he shined. Evan Sutton is back healthy. That's a big deal. And then Amir Anthony played really well. As for Oklahoma, Wyatt Cruz was disappointing. Only completed 50% of his throws, passer rating below 100. Not good enough for a guy who's probably going to be a first-rounder. USC and Michigan, the other super game this week at the Big House. 7-0 Michigan, 6-1 USC. Major Big Ten title implications and obviously playoff implications both ways. I give Michigan credit. I thought they were going to really struggle in this game. They kept it competitive the entire way, but USC ends the undefeated regular season for the Wolverines, 28-27. USC climbs all the way up to number 3. Michigan drops to 7. Give Case and Wood credit. I thought he was pretty good. He's honestly been pretty much just as good as Elijah Pyle was before he got injured. It hasn't been that much of a downgrade. They couldn't really run the ball well, although Hakeem Akindele and Preston Wells both played really well. Hakeem Akindele, the cousin of Quincy Akindele, our guy. 3 scores through the air for Jackson Jackson, 2 of which were caught by the talented sophomore Kyrie Sampson. Georgia and Florida, the Hoppy Reynolds Bowl, or I guess the battle of Hoppy Reynolds' exes. Hoppy, of course, doing good things this year at LSU. Georgia, meanwhile, number 2. They only have 1 loss. Florida, going to be a tough game for them. Obviously, a very young team. A couple of true sophomores in at quarterback and running back. And the impressive season for Georgia continues. This did not look like the team who got blown out in Week 1 by Ohio State. Brian Maddie continues his Heisman-esque season. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think he should be in first place for the award. 42-23, Georgia, your new number 1 team. For what it's worth, SMU did not lose this week. They just had a bye week, and Georgia passed them. Mayor Stokes was up and down. Malachi Dunham, the running back, though, was really good, 14 for 125. He's probably the early favorite, I would think, to be the RB1 in next year's draft class, only being a true sophomore right now. As for Georgia, one of the biggest stories of the year continues to be the impressive play of Ryan Lockley, who I just kind of figured was trending towards being a career backup. Now he's a Heisman candidate and a guy who's probably going to be talked about in NFL circles at some point. They ran the ball well with Jamison Vales and Bryce Rain, despite not having their standout freshman Curtin Pexel, who's out with a ruptured disc. He got hurt last week. Brian Maddie, quiet game for his standards, only 6 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown. North Carolina heads to UVA to face off against our rivals, the University of Virginia. Now remember, Nick Winton, who's a projected second rounder, did not get a target against us. Look at this play. Breaks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tackles all the way to the 5. Broke about, say, 6, 7 tackles there. He didn't score, but have no fear, Nick Winton fantasy owners. He would punch it in 2 plays later on this throw by Jadel Mathis. I thought our defense struggled last week, allowing 27 against these guys. I don't feel quite as bad. Yeah, 56 this week. Jadel Mathis played really well again, and if he continues to look like this, why can't he be a real NFL prospect? Now, unfortunately, Braden Rodgers got hurt again, which continues to be the story of his collegiate career. He was really good before he got injured in this game. UVA scored 28. Give them credit. They fared a whole lot better than our offense did against North Carolina. West Virginia heads to Stillwater, playing against Oklahoma State. The Cowboys really cannot afford to lose any more games if they want to make the college football playoff, which makes it all the more disappointing that they ended up losing this game at home in the rain. Big time upset for West Virginia. And now Oklahoma State, who nearly made it last year as well, appears to be on the outside looking in. Oklahoma State made it all the way to the conference championship. Them and TCU seemed pretty even for most of the year. TCU, of course, blew them out in that game, and they ended up winning the whole thing. Senna Ticonderoga, not good enough. Joshua Khalil was solid, as was Ja'Kai Beach, but not enough for Oklahoma State. JT Dragos played well. Tyrone Kiki with a touchdown. Danny Radigan playing really well through the air. Arizona State feels like a sleeping giant. Now, remember last year, they were the favorite in the Big 12 for most of the year. Texas Tech was kind of like that second fiddle, but Arizona State started 10-0 before losing their last 2 games. This year, they're very quietly number 14, currently 6-1, and they are dominating teams. They have one of the highest point differentials in the country. They got another blowout win this week against Utah, helped by this rushing touchdown from Colin Sears, 34-7. They are now 11, and they are now currently in the playoff with Texas Tech with only 1 loss to their name. Ezekiel Pantaleon played well. They've got an awesome running back duo with Colin Sears and Mac Fronte, neither of whom were that good in this game, and they still won by 27. Their defense playing really well. Luis Gallegos struggled. Emmanuel Callow struggled. Number 23, Iowa, is playing as well as just about anyone in the Big Ten. They're 6-1. Running back Deontay Stephan is the breakout star at the country. They feel that they're a playoff team. Well, guess what? Here's your chance to show it. Here's your big test. And, yeah, they failed the test miserably. They come into the shoe and get completely eviscerated by Ohio State. One of the most impressive wins of the year for the Buckeyes, 56-13. I take it that Iowa probably is not a playoff team. They were horrible on both sides of the ball. Josiah Skinner completing just 43% of his throws. Deontay Stephan wasn't bad. He only got it 13 times, though. That's not enough. That's your best player. Malachi Foreman, hello, 6 touchdowns, 67% completion percentage. He's really coming along this year, and it feels like this whole offense is kind of like last year. Ohio State and their quarterback play was sloppy the first half of the year, but then it got better. Remember who their quarterback was? Wambly Mendoza, the same guy who's probably going to win the Rookie of the Year and lead the Arizona Cardinals to the playoffs. Texas Tech, 9-0, number 6. They've had a really tough non-conference schedule. Here's another hard game against the playoff team from last year in Stanford, who doesn't quite look like a playoff team this year. Texas Tech remains undefeated with this touchdown by Colin Westwood into the hands of Elvis Phantom. They're 10-0. They win at 56-21, blowing out Stanford. Texas Tech should be at minimum number 3. I don't get how they're 5. SMU ahead of them, sure. Georgia ahead, I get. Otherwise, no. Nathan Jackson Lucas has really struggled. He will be getting benched. Solomon Sifu, who was supposed to be the starter all along, will take over the job. Stanford was so impressed with Jackson Lucas throughout the summer, but he just hasn't really shown to be that guy. Colin Westwood's playing better as the year goes along. Mark Armstrong is balling. I mean, these guys are better than they were a year ago, and they won the championship. We'll wrap things up in Eugene. Number 4, 7-0 Illinois. They're starting to move me a little bit. Even with a true freshman quarterback, these guys look really good. They're playing some great ball. Let me rephrase that. They were playing some great ball. Not anymore. A complete blowout at the hands of the Oregon Ducks, 49-9. A disastrous game for Illinois, proving to everyone what we kind of thought about this team being on potentially fraud watch. Naeem Dinkins, 13 for 40, 3 interceptions. Dear God, that might be the worst quarterback performance I have ever seen in this game. Bronson Truman got the ball 8 times. 8. He's been the best running back, in my opinion, in the country this year. Why is he getting 8 carries? Rowan Phoebe with 6 scores. Milton Brendel over 100 yards. Henry Kraft scores 3. Former Hokie. Just a disastrous game by Illinois. They should not have let their quarterback throw the ball 40 times and their best player get the ball 8. That's terrible coaching. Tulane beat Central Michigan. They're ranked. They get a big game against Memphis next week. LSU over Kentucky. I really think LSU can run the table and make the playoff pretty easily. They only have 2 more games left. They're going to be multi-touchdown favorites in both of them. Miami gets back on track. Clemson with a big win against Syracuse. NC State beats Georgia Tech. Nebraska, Middle Tennessee State all win. Good victory for Penn State over Maryland. They're back up to number 15. And then as we look at the ACC, we already went over most of the ACC games this week. The only ones we didn't talk about were Duke beating Boston College. Our next game in 2 weeks is against Duke. And then Cal over Florida State. Air Force and Army scored 99 points. How is that possible? Two military teams scoring 100 in this economy? TCU rebounding after their slow start this year. They scored 45 on the University of Cincinnati. Iowa State with an exciting win against Baylor, 42-40. Auburn back on the win column. They beat Vanderbilt. UAB with a nice win. They have the big game against South Florida in a week from now. Speaking of South Florida, they scored 52. The American race is going to be a really interesting one. There's a lot of good teams in that conference, not just Memphis and USF, but Tulane's playing great. East Carolina has not lost a game in conference yet. So Georgia takes over as the number one in the college football playoff and the media polls. SMU's still number one in the coaches poll. Texas Tech should be ahead of USC and Ohio State, in my opinion, as I've said. Illinois still being a playoff team feels a little bit wrong. I get it's only a bunch of two-loss teams below them, but holy cow, did they play horribly against Oregon. Here's your new playoff bracket. I would be excited about that Georgia, Notre Dame, Alabama group. Holy hell. That sounds like the quadrant from hell. Georgia gets completely screwed over, just like last year when they were the number one seed, because they had to play Notre Dame in the second round. Notre Dame was the second best team in the regular season last year after Georgia. And then they had to play Alabama in the semifinals, where they ultimately lost. That would be really unfortunate for Georgia. They do not deserve that. I take it back. Yes, they do. Our roads will be a lot safer if those guys knew how to drive. Diego Pena and Enrique Baca in the Players of the Week. Nazir Ismail, of course, in the ACC, along with Quincy McCullers of North Carolina. For the Heisman race, Tyree Wells drops to 4. I thought Amir Anthony was in first. It's still Zasco, with Anthony and Maddie in second and third. Still the same 5 guys, as it will probably continue to be the rest of the year. Nazir Ismail, though, is 9th for the Maxwell, which is basically the extended Heisman. And he's the highest non-quarterback other than those 3 receivers. He's very close to breaking the single-season records for receiving yards, receptions. I think he just tied touchdowns with his 11th in this game this week against Louisville. As for bowl projections, we are still slated to play in the Fenway Bowl against East Carolina. I really like playing new teams in bowl games, but I would be really happy if we played ECU because, for one thing, they're a super fun team, but that was also a sick game earlier in the year. I would love to run it back. So next week, we get a 2-for-1 special. We've got our Week 11 bye week and then Week 12 against Duke. So we've got 2 of the last 4 weeks of the college football regular season and what should be a jam-packed episode coming up. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Big win today for the Hokies. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Peace out.